Ah, good morning. It's Wednesday. It is May 1st, 2024. So when I said that, I just had a thought in my head that said, hey, you're not supposed to share the date. Why am I sharing that with you? Why am I sharing that thought? Well, I'll probably talk about that in this particular live. So it's Wednesday morning. This is the first episode of Wednesday morning wisdom. I just came up with this last night, literally. But let me tell you the backstory. Give you the backstory of why I'm even doing this. And why, well, let me just tell you why I'm doing this. So, yesterday, uh, I was in the garage thinking. And as I was thinking, I began to think about, man, why aren't you being as productive as you know you can be? Why aren't you doing the things that you know you can do? Why aren't you producing the kind of content that, or the kind or the amount of content that you know you could be? So I'm thinking about that, and I want to read um, some of, because when I got the revelation, or when I got my thoughts together, I sent it to my wife, and it was pretty eye opening, right? So first of all, let me. None of this is planned, scripted, or whatever. I have very very few notes, and so let me read this real quick to see if it's something I even want to share. And and I can tell you now, I don't know what this is going to be. I don't know what it's going to look like. I know I plan to show up every Wednesday morning and give you something really short to just help your day. Um, yeah, I can read this. So this is so I share with my wife the thought that came to my head as I was processing um, my stagnation, right? My own personal stagnation, and what I'm about to share and what you experience from me, it, it may be different. As a matter of fact, it probably is going to be different than what you hear from other coaches. Um, because I'm real big on the fact that I'm a human being. It doesn't matter how many people I help. Doesn't matter how many lives I change. I'm still a regular human being, and it's a ton of stuff I don't know, and I got to figure out. And I'm doing life just like the rest of y'all, right? If the if the expectation is for the teacher to know everything, or if the expectation is for the preacher to be perfect, or if the expectation is for the police officer to never ever do anything breaking the law, and I'm talking about like running a light, then you might be disappointed, right? Because we're regular humans. But anyway, so I'm gonna share this, and then I'm gonna share the little thought that I have for you today about wisdom, and then that'll be it. So this is what I shared last night. This is the reason why I started this. So it's about serving you, but it's for God. But anyway, check this out. I started like this, and this is me talking to me. Because if you are stumbling over your words or not making life changing points, then people will think you don't know what you're talking about. So, and then I said, so you are afraid to be called a fraud by people who did not call you to do this. That's interesting. That was the conversation that was in my head. And then from there, I thought some more things. And so then after a little while after that, I was making me something to eat, and I was in the kitchen, and I said, you know what? I'm going live in the morning because uh like you'll say you're preparing for a video, it'll be 7 weeks and you still preparing. Sir, it's just a block. And hopefully what I'm sharing will help you in your stuff. Okay. So anyway, here's the wisdom for today. Proverbs, today is May 1st, so I'm doing Proverbs 1. Proverbs 1 verse 7 says this: the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Fools despise wisdom and instruction. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Why is that important? because the most prevalent prison that we human beings live in is this prison called people pleasing, right? It's at the root of what I just read in my text. People pleasing. Now, I've known for a long time that I've been a recovering people pleaser. My life happened in a way where, yeah, that's. I mean, that makes sense. But I've been working for a long time to, overcome that. Now, a lot of you looking at me may be like people pleasing. That ain't me. Eh, The overwhelming majority of the population deals with some level of people pleasing. You may not want to receive it, but that's the overwhelming majority. But anyway, so this whole idea of what people are going to think when they didn't call me, I didn't know that I didn't know that that was a thing in my head. And when it came out, I was like, wow. So all this time you're trying not to be a people pleaser, and you're trying to make sure that you're healing things and everything, and here you are still stuck because what you want to share is not deep enough, or what you want to share is not, you know, whatever, life changing enough. But guess where I got that from? I didn't get that from, com- you know, um, Clifton. You were this way in 2022, and now if you're not that good in 24, we need to keep working at it until. No, I wasn't comparing myself to myself, but I was comparing. See, I was comparing myself to the people that I watch, to the people that I admire. Folk have been doing this longer than me, and a whole lot of other stuff, right? But because I feel like I can do that, but then I can't do that as oh, no, I can't do what they do, looking like them and getting their results. Duh, like who? All of this was happening in my subconscious. I didn't know that I was doing this, but comparison kills. Okay, you got to stop comparing yourself to other people who haven't lived your life. See, and you haven't lived their life. The thing is, what they are producing in their life, wherever you see, if you see it, out in the public, if you see it at church, if you see wherever you see someone producing something that you feel like you should and could be producing, you got to remember, you haven't lived their life. All you see is what you see. You have no idea how that came to fruition in their life. The best thing you could do is maximize what God has put in you and then be you. One of the things I was telling this to my wife last night, I've been watching a lot of Timothy Keller. He's one of the best um, Bible teachers I've come across for me, right? But in his Bible teaching, he is not elegant at all. He stumbles over his words. He makes jokes that don't land. He's corny. He does all these things, but I find myself watching his whole video. Now I know everyone doesn't watch his whole video. Here's the point that I'm making though. Uh, while I'm comparing myself to other people who speak so eloquently and their points are so, man, that was so good. And ooh, this could be a short. Like, every minute of their video can be its own separate short, right? So they're gonna get engagement and stuff. And I'm comparing myself to that. And man, I'm not doing that. So maybe I need to take better notes. Maybe I need to study longer, and so that people can watch my videos longer and I can get more views and click through stuff. And here's the thing, in all of that, I lost the vision of the ministry. Yeah, because what I do is ministry. I don't know what other therapists do. I help folk, but for me, it's ministry. But it had become not just for the people, but for the people as opposed for God. So that's why this impromptu Wednesday morning wisdom, Proverbs 1, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. I talked about people pleasing. Why did I say people pleasing? Because people pleasing is the other side of the fear of the Lord. People pleasing is the fear of man. When you fear man, that's when you're going to compare yourself. That's when you're going to hold yourself back because you're going to say, I can't do what they're doing. But you can never do what they're doing because you've not lived their life. You haven't lived their life. And as a matter of fact, let me help you with this too. Stop putting yourself down so much because you are who you are and you're living how you're living. Here's what I mean. A few days ago, I had the revelation, based on the fact that I was born to a teenage mom, based on the fact that, you know, I grew up where I grew up how I grew up, my family dynamics, what it was, it makes sense for me to still be struggling with discipline. It makes sense. Oh, I shouldn't say still struggling. Let me not say that part. But it makes sense for me to struggle with discipline. It makes sense for me to struggle with people pleasing. It makes sense for me to have the weaknesses I have because my life has been in such a way where that will be the normal outcome. But here's the thing, there's a whole lot of other things that, based on how my life has been, could have and maybe should have been produced on the negative side. Like I should be on drugs. I shouldn't be where I am. And so my point is, instead of beating yourself up for where you are, thank God that where you are, these are only remnants of the full blown what it could be. And so you give yourself grace. So you know, every time now when let's say I don't live up to my standard, I forgive myself and I say, you know what? We dropped the ball there, but we're going to get it. Right. I stop beating myself up for not being as good as I want to be, because it's like me training to run track and field, me training to run the 100. And my upbringing, I never ran track. I never ran anywhere all my life, right? And so my upbringing, I wasn't trained to run track, and I don't know the ins and outs of run track. And so then we get to a situation where, you know what, I want to run the 100. If I get tired halfway, it makes sense based on how I've lived before this moment. Those are the results. So when I get blew out, me beating myself up and like, oh man, I can't believe I lost this race. And they left me like I was standing in cement. And it's like I ain't never stepped on the track before. That's because you just stepped on the track last week. And so beating yourself up because you are where you are supposed to be don't make sense. Do the work to change so you don't stay there, but stop beating yourself up. So the wisdom for today is to fear the Lord, not man. Because when you fear man, here's what Proverbs 29:25 says. It says the fear of no, I get stuck between versions. One version says the fear of man will prove to be a snare, but I like the New Living Translation. It says fearing people is a dangerous trap, but trusting the Lord means safety. Okay, so um, you want to have the right kind of fear. So the fear of man is when you are afraid of people's opinion in general, afraid of people's opinion. So you live and move in a way that pleases them, so that they'll accept you, so that they'll say you good, so that they will like you or whatever. It's not coming from a genuine place though. Okay. So for all of you who you say, man, I go out of my way for folk all the time. That's not healthy. Probably. Okay. Probably. It depends, but it's probably not healthy. But that's the fear of man. But the fear of the Lord then is when I care more about what God thinks than anybody else. That's why the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Because when I care more about what God thinks than other people, now I can start learning things in what's the word? In not cahoots. That's not the word. Why did my brain tell me that? Not conjunction. Now I got conjunction junction in my head. So forget, I don't know what the word is. but the fear of the Lord is the only fear you want to have. When you fear man, when you're afraid of what people are going to think, when you're afraid, like I'm wearing this shirt and I'm sharing this with you to expose my inner fear and to help you. But I'm wearing this shirt today because in my head there was a thought that says people are not going to take you seriously with a t-shirt on. You need to have on your blazer, you need to have on your pocket square, and I'm going to do that on my regular YouTube videos. But today on this Wednesday morning, wisdom, I, I'm wearing my worthy shirt because I'm working. Right, I'm working. The thing that I want you to do is to work on your stuff. If I had known at 21 what I know at 51, oh my goodness, right? But I'm starting to understand. I'm starting to understand how the older you get, in general, the more free you get. Because at 51, like when I found out last night that my block was people pleasing, I was like, oh man, listen, I'm so tired of trying to live for people, right? So I didn't know that that was there. That's what pride does. It's another topic. But I didn't know that was there. But my point is, as you get older, you care less and less about what people think because you realize all of y'all just fake and phony too. All of y'all got on masks. I'm taking my mask off. I'm tired. Y'all gonna either like this Clifton or none. Listen. God is the only one that can justify me. Outside of that, what I gotta say gonna bless the folk. It's gonna bless, and whoever ain't don't have an ear for me, guess what they gonna do? Now listen. And the same is true for you in whatever area. Whoever don't like you, don't like you. Stop jumping through hoops to get folk to like you. Well, because if you gotta pretend for them to like you, you got to keep pretending because they don't know you. Give them a chance to know the jacked up, broken you, and see if they stay around. And if they do, okay, great. If not, well then they wasn't for you. Okay, that's the wisdom for today. Fearing people is a dangerous trap, but trusting the Lord means safety. So let the fear of man be the only fear that you have, because the fear. I said the fear of man. Did I say the fear of man? I think I said let the fear of man. You know what I meant. You don't know what I meant because it's for the fear of the Lord. I'm crazy. I'm not crazy. The fear of the Lord is the begin. It's live. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. But don't be a fool and reject wisdom. Okay. All right. Oh, I wanted to do this for you too. So this is my corny side because again I didn't have notes and I didn't put anything. But when I say as you get older, I'm gonna be 52 in June. Less than 90 days, I'm gonna be 52. And when it comes to people pleasing, let me tell you this. This is where I am on people pleasing. Truth is, I'm tired. I'm not doing it no more. Every time I see it, I'm gonna attack it. And so you get the benefit of that if this is going to, if you're going to be joining me on Wednesday mornings. One of the blessings that come from me attacking my people pleasing demon is I'm getting up on Wednesday mornings when I don't do much Wednesdays mornings. I don't do much on Wednesday mornings. But now we're going to be getting in the word together. So join me if you will. Outside of that, hey, y'all have a great day. And I hope I did not record this. I'm going to have to use audio from the video because I'm putting some on my podcast too. I hope you guys have a great day. And I'll see y'all next Wednesday. You got to have your buttons ready. So when you say that, then you could just go off air. Hit it, DJ. We might as well let the DJ play our outro song.